Hi everyone, it's 22nd of April. I'm going to start planting things out today. I've been down, dug the spud bed over, planted all my potatoes. I've got some footage, but my camera ran out of battery, so if it's okay I'll add it to this video. But my garlic's in as well, I've got some footage of that, so I'll put that on at some point during this clip. So got my onions to go out today, brassicas, some spring onions, some beetroot, and probably a bit of lettuce as well. So varieties I'm growing are Santero and Red Spark. Grown from seed, which I sold sort of middle of February I think, in some really small cell trays. But because I didn't know about if I could come up here and that, I thought, well, I'll have to pot them on. So they're in these 40 cell ones now, so I'm just hoping that they've got enough root that they come out easy enough. They might have falter bits on me, I don't know. So I've been on here and I've just dibbed some holes out with the old trusty spade handle dibber. Some are deep and others, it's quite dry. I did water it to try and stop all the compost falling back in, but some of them have filled back in, so I'll have to just go around and dib a few more as I go. So I'm not going to, film planting them all. So, but you can have a look afterwards anyway. I'll give you the general gist. So we'll start down this side here. So I've got basically 8 rows of 18. They're roughly about 7 by 8 inches apart. They're about 7 inches apart that way and 8 inches apart that way. So they've enough room. You could do them closer if you want to, you can do like 4 inches apart and rows a foot apart, but I'm just doing this to get a bit, maximise the airflow and hopefully reduce the risk of mildew, even though Santero are pretty resilient to it. They've got a good resistance to mildew usually. They're a good store as well. Red Spark I'm not too sure about. I think that'll probably get the mildew. So we'll just have to see how we go, and hope rust stays away until they've formed a good bulb. So we shall get a start. Just move around the side here. Got a kneeling mat for a change, so I'm knackering my knees up. So, like I said, I just hope they come out of these trays okay. I put my label up here, then I know where it is. Because usually I like to let them dry out a little bit so they'll shrink and ping out, but we'll just see how we go. Because they're not root bound, so they're not. They've got just enough root. I'm going to try and plant some of them a little bit deeper because a lot of compost has come off the bottom of that, so it's just a case of fill the hole in a bit and just nestle it down. They usually take okay. Yeah, it's just getting the roots to have a good anchor in the bed, save them toppling about. So the longest bit is dibbing the actual holes out. You can get all the roots in there, not too bad. Don't worry if they're a bit lopsided, because once the roots have gone in, they'll right themselves, in a week or two. I think there's about 106 or 108, something like that, I'm putting in this bed altogether. Plenty of onions. I might as well plant this other row while I'm at it. So it doesn't have to be perfect, just bung them in. And then that's my bit done then. At the mercy of the old Mother Nature. As long as you don't bury them really deep down, because the bulb will end up sat on the actual top of the soil. We'll just see how they progress. Obviously, when you're growing from seed, it reduces the risk of them going to seed. But nothing's guaranteed. In case they get a bit stressed or a bit dry, they will decide to bolt. It's all just elements of shock. But usually it don't go too bad. I mean, I used to grow a red one called Red Baron from sets, and he always used to bolt. You know, it's like that cold snap. I'm a little bit later than normal planting out. You know, stuff's been ready for a while really, but I'm just hoping potting on the brassicas hasn't stunted him a bit and they cause problems further down the line, but it's a learning curve. It might work out better. We can only try, and we get what we get. But, I've had a good few days down here, just getting cleared up and getting ready. You know, took me time digging my potato bed over. Well, it took me 3 days to dig it over, to be honest. Proper back-breaking work, but it's one of them jobs that needed doing. I've got 6 rows of the spuds in. I earthed them right up because I didn't know if there were going to be cold snaps and that. And if I couldn't get up here, I thought, well, if they're in and earthed up, they'd be safe. So I'm just going to do some 36, these red spark. And the rest will all be Santero. I used to put a net over the onions a lot of the time when they were small like this, but I'm just not going to bother. It's been sass on me, a lot of the stuff's fallen off that. Just nestle them in the hole. They're usually okay, because you look at leaks, sort of pull them out of the pot and separate them, just drop them in a dry hole and fill it with water and they take okay. Oh, they're all the same family. I should imagine, you know, they'll should tap in over the next few days. Just try and select the better ones now, so we're down to the stragglers in the tray. It's as simple as that, really. So I'll get on with the rest of these and then we'll do some brassicas. Right, I'm going to plant this cauliflower now. The variety's Clapton, all sown back in February. There's some down there that are a couple of weeks younger. But basically there's about 14 of these up this end will be ready first. Probably just about a couple of weeks, but we'll soon see. They might just catch up at the same time. So it's all cauliflower this bed, which is something I don't usually do, but I might end up, you know, because this will be finished by sort of July. This might be where I might put winter brassicas, you know, some of the January kings and things like that. Just something to pick at when I come up over the winter months doing the preparation. So spacing's about 15 inches apart in all directions. Sometimes I used to do 4 rows of brassicas like cabbages. I used to find the cabbages used to get squashed at one side. The other bed over there with broccoli, they're going to be 3 broccoli, and then probably do the cabbage in block of 4 at the bottom end. Right, so we'll get started. Some of these pots are okay for a bulb planter. For those who don't know what that is, it's just one of them things. These pots are a little bit big for that, so the old trusty trowel method. It's kind of roughly about, you know, a foot from the side, and dig down. Now it's already been sort of walked on a bit, this bed, because all members of the brassicas like firm ground. Now I have a problem with leather jackets on here, so I have little drinking straws around the stem. They've actually outgrown them a bit now, but we'll see how they get on. Hopefully they'll leave them alone. It's simply just popping it out of the pot, wallop it in the hole, so you get it roughly, a little bit of soft soil under it if you want, because you can oof it down a bit. Just give it a good firming. And you know, as it's growing, you can hill up around the stem if you want, put a little label in. So that's Clapton cauliflower. Well, it's pretty much as simple as that, really. Nothing fancy. I've got video on my channel regarding the whole how I put the drinking straws on, which is basically I just cut a slit up the side and put it around the stem, because leather jackets have a habit of gnawing it off right at ground level here. When you come back, you've got your plants laying dead on the floor here, and you've got your little stem poking up, and the leather jacket will just be just under the surface around here, which when they mature they turn into crane fly, which is the daddy longlegs. They're a bit of a nuisance. They attack pretty much everything I plant. It's just one of those things you don't get much control over, really. You can just try and feed it off a little bit. So you don't have to start tying the heads up on these or anything. Like some cauliflowers, you used to have to go and tie the foliage over the head, or sort of wrap it up and put a couple of clothes pegs in it. I can't see any leather jackets at the moment, which is a good sign. So don't be frightened of giving it a good firming in, because when they get big they'll be rocking about and you need them to support themselves. Right, so I shall carry on with the rest of these, and then we'll go over onto the next bed and do the broccoli and the cabbage. Right, I'm going to plant this broccoli and the golden acre cabbage. So I'm going to do the cabbage in 2 rows of 4 going across that way, and then the rest will be 3 rows of broccoli. So I think there should be 18 broccoli plants. Try and get this net out of the way a bit more, just for filming really. Usually I just pull the side up a bit. So it's Golden Acre or Primo 2. I've grown it for years now. Little trick you can do with it, when you take the main head, you can cut a little cross in the actual stalk, as long as you leave some foliage on it. They'll grow like mini cabbage heads. So they're going to get roughly about 15-inch square for each one. You know, because they're a fairly small summer cabbage. That'll be perfect, but I'm a little bit fussy, never mind. Yeah, we'll go with about that for them. Let me trowel. So, they should be about 7.5 inch from side. Yeah. Here we go, quite straightforward. I mean, it's pretty firm, this. Like I say, because it's not soil as such, it's all part of the no-dig sort of lasagna gardening. Soil doesn't compact the same as, like, you know, general ground soil, because it has a lot of organic matter in it. So even though it seems firm, you know, you can squeeze it into a ball and it'll crumble up easy, even though it's damp. Same again, give them a good firming. You know, some of these bottom leaves will be yellow in a week or two. When they do, just pinch them off out of the way. I'm trying to think what I had in this bed last year. Oh, and here we have a leather jacket. So that's what they look like. Caused me a lot of problems on here. So just hoping there's not so many in that bed, because they just shear the tops off. Only one thing you can do with them, and that's dispatch of them. It just gets me a little bit concerned. You know, so I've got drinking straws around the stem of this, but they're you know, still liable to try and have a go. So you make sure the drinking straws on that, yeah. They just gnaw it off at the actual ground level. An absolute nuisance. Luckily when I did the cauliflower I didn't actually see any. But I'll know within about a week. So I'll come over and I'll see if there's been any destruction. You know, because it is disheartening when you've got like, what, 6-8 weeks growth on a plant and they come and polish it off in one night. Because they love nice soft juicy roots and tender stems. It's predominantly because it's grassland, you know, because they are known for, you know, wrecking lawns and all sorts. I mean, I did try the nematode thing a few years ago, but it didn't really do anything. It's just a case of once your plant's past that vulnerable stage, you're not too bad. So once they grow, they ping the drinking straw open and just leave the drinking straw behind, and they just carry on growing. Because if it weren't for the drinking straws, I just couldn't really grow the brassicas here. Because they do it to lettuce, but I can't seem to get the drinking straw on the lettuce. Some roots in here from something, I don't know what. It was French climbing beans I had here last year. They didn't do very well either. I think it was French climbing beans here. I don't really strictly follow any mega rotation. But yeah, it was peas and beans. Label there somewhere. I'm not going to quite bury that stem yet until it's a little bit more substantial in size. Yeah, that's what them roots will be the French climbing bean. Any legumes, just leave the roots in, shear off at ground level. It's one of them sort of plants that give back to the soil. Let's just be careful about how far down I push these in. Hopefully we'll do alright. I've never had them attack my onions yet, but ugly worms hanging around anyway. Don't mind them. I just top these beds off with leaves this year, which is quite spiky and you're pushing stuff in. I'll probably hill these up a little bit once they tap in. Just to prevent them rocking around in the wind. Because when they get the head on them, they'll have a bit of weight in it. The worm, you can go back down in the bottom. That's the golden Icodon. A bit wonky, but never mind. Pull them out of the way a sec. Give me a line. Shove this straight down the middle, or thereabouts anyway. Kind of guess it really. Yeah, not too far off the middle there. 5 foot by 10.5 foot these beds are. Kind of works out not too bad for getting your 15-inch square for things. So it's just a case of spread these down the centre line. So I'm looking to try and get about 6 along there. This variety is called Aquils. Same again, I've grown it quite a few times. I mean, there's Iron Man, Typhoon, or whatever it's called, there's a few. 6, yep, go with that. Get me a little cushion. And just simply wallop them in. Good thing about like broccoli is when you've harvested the main head, which for me will probably be like June, you get a good few weeks of side shoots when you leave it in. So a good idea, I suppose, in some ways, is when you're just about to take the main head, sow some more. Because they're pretty much bang on 100 days from sowing actual seed to harvesting the head. Yeah, they are quite firm, these beds. I don't mind. You know, if you're new to the channel, you might not have seen what it's like in winter. It's Quadmire gets flooded. Just hoping the camera doesn't shut down. I'll try and do this in sort of one take or this look. It has a habit of when it shuts down, that bit of footage becomes corrupt. I can't load it, won't play it. I could do with like getting some proper camera stuff really, but it's just an expense I can't really afford at the minute. Should have to persevere with the old, just an old phone actually. Just have a little MP3 recorder in my pocket with a microphone, little clip-on lapel microphone. I mean, yeah, when I've got to go and edit the video when I get home, I have to sort of put the audio from the microphone to the picture. Otherwise, all you'll be hearing right now is a lot of wind, because it is pretty windy. Right, so Just hope I've calculated this right. Right there. First one there. 2, 3, 6. I've got there's 6 left in here. That works out okay. I could plant, you know, more in these beds, but just as it gets nearer to the outside edge, I'm worried about butterflies actually, you know, trying to lay eggs through the netting. It will deter them a bit. It's tricky sometimes using the netting because you get like aphids and things like that can get in, but the predators can't to get rid of them, so it's a bit catch-22. But if you have any common sort of problems on your plot, just put it in the comments below. You know, if you have any certain things that are a bit of a nuisance, you know, because it's far from problem free. A little bit close together. Never mind. It's nice to actually get stuff planted out because it frees up a bit of space in the polytunnel and in the garden, because these have just been like sat under a net in the back garden for a week or so now. So it does them a world of good being out, sort of in a sheltered breeze. Starts to harden up a little bit, you know, because they're going to go from a completely sheltered spot out into the open field, and this land around here is just open land, so it can get a bit windy around here, and you've got quite weak seedlings. They'll be tempted to just get ripped to shreds, blown about. No idea how straight this is, but we'll just go with it. Yeah, I'm doing a lot more brassicas than I usually do in this sort of planting bit. So it's just I can load the freezer up, and then just in case I have a bad crop in the winter months, I've got a surplus left over, you know, because once it goes in freezer it'll last ages. Still finishing off, not got much cauliflower left from last year. Just want more beans this year, so it's looking like I'm going to be planting a lot of beans. It's kind of just repeat the same process on the other side. Just open the camera, still recording. You can't even see my screen from here. Let's come and check. Yeah, still recording. Try to remember not to kneel on the beds, because they're in desperate need of redoing and falling to bits a bit. Yeah, these beds being sort of 5 foot by 10.5 kind of works okay. You know, if you sort of go about 8-9 inches in from each end, you can actually give, you know, if you did it 32 plants, you can all have 15 square inch each, and they're a good size. I find them better than the conventional sort of 4 foot by 8 foot. You know, and you can do longer beds, it's just that sometimes I don't like part netting a bed if I can help it. You know, like the small cloches, at least with this big net that does the whole bed. It's kind of, you know, with being no dig to a degree, is once the plants have gone in, it's usually, I might only have to lift it up once to do a little bit of spot weeding. Apart from that, it's happened a few times when I've planted them, covered them, next time I've gone in is when I'm harvesting them. Because I can't stand weeding, I hate it. Even though I've kind of grown to tolerate it, but not when it's an old traditional digging plot. And the back gardens are kind of going a bit more now. I do dig it a little bit, but not quite as much. But this is so bad because this is, you know, 8.5–9 miles away from where I live, so I don't want to be coming up here too much. It's nice it is to come up. You know, it's all about being a little bit cost effective as well. You don't mind on nice days. No fun coming up here when it's all pouring it down though. But just have to see how the weather pans out this year. Last one. I think it's time to put kettle on, have a brew, and then do the spring onions, and beetroot, and mark my sweet corn bed out, because I think I'm going to plant some lettuce in that, until my sweet corn's ready, which you may have even seen in the video where I sowed it, or I might not put it up yet. Right, I'll give these a water. Hopefully stop sulking in about a week. Tap some new roots in. And then a couple of months come and harvest. Right, brew time. And plant my spring onions. Got ishikura and some red spring onions. I don't know if I've got it on the name. No. Sown back in end of February, I think. So she's trusty spade handle dimmer again. Doing little clumps. So I'll probably do them, I don't know, 6 inches apart. I've not done red ones before, I don't think. A lot of people do the old reliable white Lisbon, because you can bulb a little bit. You know, they're nice, but I just like this ishikura. Pretty reliable. They do get rust eventually. Well, on here they do anyway. So how many holes did I do then? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's quite handy. It's probably going to be about 8 inches apart, maybe 9 inches apart in a row. Do them a little bit deeper because this top mulch is only leaves, so put them down so they get a good grip into the actual main bed, because they could topple over a bit if they just root into the mulch. Pop them in first. And it's pretty much the same as I did the onions. I say they're sown in little clusters, probably about up to 6 or 7. Simply press them down. All I'll do is I'll sow some more in about 2 weeks. Which will then give you a pretty continuous supply. Germination on the red hasn't been as good. We've got an empty cell. And that one's just going to stay empty. So, there's the red, there's the white. Quick water. What's the spring onion is on? Beetroot, I'll probably give a little bit more space, not much though. I think I might just do one raw beetroot because some of the meat eats it. Similar sort of spacing because they're in little clusters. A little hollow underneath there, probably an open mole tunnel. Oh, bugger it, I'll do a few more, I'll just stagger them. Simply just lower them in. Broke off. Weed there on that.
You miss Bob.
Being informed by the missus. So I missed one. Is that okay? That's them done. Right, even though I've just sown my seeds for the sweet corn, I'm actually going to mark this bed out where they're going to be planted. And all I tend to use, people have asked me about these before, and they're just cane caps. Spot the end of cane so you don't poke your eye out. I didn't buy them from a shop. My old allotment site was a guy who gave a load away. I've had them ever since, so I couldn't tell you where you get them from, but they're just a cane cap. So the idea is kind of, you need to grow your sweet corn in a block. So I'm going to do a bit more spaced out than normal, so I'm aiming for 20 in the bed. So that's, you know, 4 rows of 5. Sometimes I do 25. But I thought I'll give it a bit more space, and what I tend to do then is it gives me an area to plant things like lettuce, which I've got a few left over, so I might as well bung them in. So it's pretty much just kind of eye it up, you know, so I'm going to have a row there, a row about there, a row about there, and a row about there, and a row about there. And there'll be one about there, one there, and one there. So they're getting a good, you know, probably 16 to 18 inches apart, which is plenty. And it's a bit tricky because this bed isn't square, it's slightly out of square because the plot's out of square. It's kind of a, it doesn't have to be perfect because, you know, they sort of pollinate on the wind. It's kind of just roughly line it up with the end of this bed. So bear in mind where these are going, this is where the sweet corn is going to be planted. You know, and you'll slowly start to form you know, a grid. There you go. One there. It's just sort of eyeballing up. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect, because you can do all that when it come to plant out. It's just that you do them in blocks just to aid the pollination, because they pollinate on the wind. They're not over keen on big exposed areas, so it's a bit hit and miss here. We shall just see how we get on. You know, and they won't get planted out here till probably June. But at least all these are in and it's all sort of marked out for me. But you could use anything, short bits of cane, anything you want to mark these out. A few of these have got a bit skew with, but say with the bed not being square, it's a bit, you can't really go off anything. But it gives you a rough idea of where things are, and each time you come over to the plot, you know, until they go out, you have a little tweak, look at different angles, and just make sure you've got the general sort of grid, which I have more or less there. It's not too bad. Just go and get my dibber. You know, so you could plant things like spring onions, you know, like the Three Sisters thing, you know, you could put little squash plants. But I'm just going to put, because I've got some leftover lettuce, I don't know which one it is, lactuva, sativa or something like that. They say you've got a sweet corn there, there and there and there, but you've got a big gap in the middle here. And nothing's going to grow, so it's just going to get full of weeds. So I could go like 1, I don't even know how many lettuce I've got, 2, 3. I'll keep it away from the fence because it keeps a bit of a slug area down there. 6, how many have I got? I think 2, 4, 7. So, well, I'll tell you what I'll do, I'll just go 1 there, and there's 6, and I'll shove Mr. 7 in the middle there. So I'll just dip a hole. You can pretty much put anything you like in these. You know, and you've got any surplus of anything else, you know, like beetroot, any leftover beetroot in, and simply just put your little plant plugs in, and providing you don't get nibbled off by leather jackets, I can probably harvest some of this. Not too long a time now. I've got that good. And now 22nd of April. You know, so you've got 5 or 6 weeks. You've got time to sow something else that you can put in at the same time as your sweet corn. You know, sometimes what I do, I put dwarf French beans in. You know, and they'll fill the bottom. It depends how crowded the sweet corn gets. Just give them a quick water. It's just somewhere to put surplus seedlings. You know, you could quite easily put 2 or 3 bunches of spring onions, or broadcast some spring onion seeds in the middle there. Because sweet corn doesn't really cause any problems for anything, because it's a member of the grass family. Right, so I'll come and get the camera and we'll have a look around the plot before I go home. Right, so have a look around after a lot of work's been put in to try and get sort of back on top after I decided to say, you know, stuff it, I'm going out, even though this COVID thing's around, I've got to get here and think about growing the future, because I ain't going to the shops, it's not worth the risk. So blueberries, they were all pruned ages ago. You know, they're not going to give us much this year, but you know, there's still going to be berries on them, plenty of them. You know, on average I've been having like over £20 of berries a year off these 6, so I don't mind having a year where there's a bit less. Raspberries, as you can see, there's 1 down there. I mean, Mrs. dug this bed over, it was absolutely rife with the leather jackets, so I think raspberries are a forget it for now until this bed's like really bulked up high, and I don't know what's happening with that yet, but it's probably going to be beans or maybe courgettes will go in that. These strawberries have been tidied up and sort of replanted. Dug the old sunflowers out, dug that bed over. I have sown some more sunflower seeds. Bit of cracking going on there, like Mr. Mole has been in. So we'll look around. Some of my mum's sweet peas down there. Well, they're getting a bit bashed about, but they'll be alright. We'll look at the asparagus. Been having a cut off these, as you can see. Some of it's a bit curly, but I had that for tea the other night. I'm going to take a bit more today. Peas, they're all still here. I've just got a gap at the end here, which when I've got another gutter full ready, they can go there. And down to the garlic, which I've sort of planted probably 6 days ago, I think. That's all in. Cause I've been doing a bit, you know, here and also in the garden, so the garden's near enough all planted up, which will be in another video, I should imagine. Obviously that's that bit I've just done down there. Need to remember to get my dibber. And then we have, just turn you around, all the, just get me out of my shadow, all the cauliflower. So 24 cauliflower. And then we have the 8 Primo 2 cabbage and 18 of the broccoli. Go up this way, and then we have all the beetroot and spring onions I've just done. So all in all, it's not been too bad. A lot of work done. All spuds in. Walk you around this way again. So that was pretty damn back-breaking work to dig all that over and then plant all in. It's a job I hate. I'm kind of hoping that this first row of these Duke Yorks will be out, so I can go down and harvest peas. Any that come through that side should be alright anyway. If need be, I'll get down no matter what. I'll figure something out. Right, so that's it for this video. I think I've got a fair bit done. So I'd say I've got a few more bits to do in the garden. The giant onions, they're ready to go in the garden. Well, they have to because they're getting in the way. Need the wind to drop a bit because it'll bash them about a bit, but at least I've caught up on here now. There's a frost tender stuff that's been sown, which I've either put in a video already or there's one coming up. It's all that to deal with, so at least starting to get on top of things now. So thanks for watching, stay safe, and I'll see you next video. See you now, bye bye.